it really sounds like you can take like this whole niche of like, starting or creating or operating a drug testing business and take it into like 17 different areas. Welcome everybody back with another video. Today we have Rosalind from DR Testing. In this video, we're going to learn how to start a drug testing business, no matter what state you live in, and how to grow it upwards to 6 figures and beyond and create recurring revenue month over month over month. It's going to be great information. I'm excited. Stay tuned and check it out. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much. Appreciate you hopping on. Appreciate you about to drop some knowledge, no pressure, on starting a drug testing business. So I know I prefaced the intro with, making all these bold claims. You could do this in any state. You could do it up to 6 figures and all this crazy stuff. We're going to wheel it back a little bit. And we're going to start with just introduce yourself, tell you who you are, what your business does, and we'll take it from there.
Okay. Well, my name is Rosalind Williams. I'm with DR Testing. We're located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, off of Sunrise Boulevard. And what we basically do is we operate a drug and alcohol testing program or center, site collection for drivers, for employers, for pretty much anyone who wants to get a drug test. We actually have a brick and mortar location. So we service patients and clients who come in to get drug tested and alcohol testing in our office. So that's pretty much what I do.
Awesome. How long have you guys been doing that for?
For almost 2 years now. So
Good.
we've been in the business for a little over 2 years. Yeah, a little over 2 years, actually. Sorry.
And and I know I'm going to ask a lot of questions, so bear with me because this is something that I know nothing about. So I'm like kid in a candy shop right now. I'm like, ooh, drug testing, interesting. So this is actually something I never heard about really for the most part. You always see like the big companies out there. You go to like a medical office and you're going to get drug tested, whether it's, like urine, hair or whatever, somebody sends you there and you never think anything of it. Very similar to fingerprinting where you're just like, oh, I don't even know this could be a business. But I guess what I want to ask is like, how did you get started with that?
Well, basically it wasn't easy. There was a process. I started in employment screening. So I started doing fingerprinting, some background services for employers. And then we kind of just added on naturally drug testing. Just basically to service the community. We had people coming in asking, do we offer drug testing? So that's how we got into the business pretty much, honestly.
Right. Yeah. So it sounds like you saw a need for it in the market and you're like, you know what, let me dig down a little bit deeper and find out like how to do this. And I know you said it wasn't easy on I guess on like a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like you could just make money instantly. And 10 being like takes 50 years to start making money. What would you say would be like the difficulty level in starting something like this in an office or mobile, or what would you say for that?
Well, honestly, 2 to 3. I mean, you have to get certified, so there's going to be some certification classes. So you need to learn how to become a specimen collector before you can really even operate a business. You need to learn how to collect the specimen, and then you need to learn why you're collecting the specimen. So once you kind of get that hurdle out of the way, then you move forward to how you're going to do your business. So you need to make a decision if you're going to go mobile, kind of work from home, and then go onto site with your employers or to see your employers or employees, or if you're going to just do a brick and mortar location. That kind of takes, depending on what city and state you're located in, that really depends on you and kind of your process or your method as to how fast you're kind of up and running as far as a brick and mortar or mobile. I wouldn't say that it's rocket science. It's not rocket science, but it's not so simple where you can start tomorrow. There is a process that you'll have to go through. I'd say 30 to 45 days, you should be able to start to finish to get your business up and running with certification, with, ordering all of the equipment that you need. So within 30 to 45 days, you should be up and running. But that first day, I mean, if you're building your business the correct way, and you are, learning the product that you're selling and learning, who can benefit from that product, then honestly, you can make money that very first day. You should be able to get clients walking in that very first day. So you can start from day one as far as income rolling in.
Mm-hmm. And I know, and forgive me, because I know we were speaking a little bit off camera not too long ago about the whole process. So I'm not coming in here completely blind, but you mentioned specimen collector. Now I'm going to take a shot at it. And I'm going to see a specimen collector, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. Basically somebody who collects the sample, whatever they're going to be sampling, and sending off to a laboratory so that the laboratory can test to see what types of drugs, depending on like the panel or whatever they're testing for. I guess there's different levels of what, types of drugs they can test for. And then the employer or whoever's requesting that would get those results.
Yes. So sorry, Dan. What a specimen collector is, a specimen collector is a person who does go out into the field or they stay into the office and they collect the specimen. The employee basically, if they're picked to do a random drug test, or if it's a pre-employment screening, if they're going to come into the office or give you a sample of their urine or oral sample or hair, the specimen collector is the person that's trained to actually work with that specimen. They know how to fill out the custody control forms. They know how to input the information into the lab's portal so that if it is a positive test result, because we can test instantly, we don't necessarily have to wait, unless it's a DOT test, we don't necessarily have to wait 2 or 3 days. That specimen collector will basically know how to collect the specimen and test the specimen instantly. And that specimen collector will learn how to print that report out to give back to the employer to let them know, hey, this employee is cleared to start work or go back to work, or just here for their drug testing portion. So the specimen collector is the most important person in the whole process.
Right.
They have to make sure that things are done based on federal regulation. So it has to be done, steps by step. Everything has to be done correctly in front of the employee. Basically, there's more steps that we can go into once we start, maybe talking about what a specimen collector really does and how that person is trained. But the specimen collector, before you own a business, you can own the business and hire specimen collectors. That is one process. The way I did it in my business is I learned how to be a specimen collector first. And then after that, I understood what it would take for me to operate as a specimen collector in the business, to own my own business. So yeah, the first step definitely is to become a specimen collector, get certified in collecting specimen, and then, branching out into the forming and shaping your business to offer your services to other employees.
Okay. All right. That makes, so it sounds like I was like 70% there almost.
You're there.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Still learning. That's why we're doing it though. Thank you. So, another question I would have is like, so like who's sending these customers in? Like what's like the reason really? I mean, I know it's to test for drugs, obviously, but like, is it mostly employment?
Yeah, let's keep it in the employment screening arena, because I mean, there is so many different ways that a drug testing business can be profitable and successful. When you're running toxicology, whether it's blood, urine, oral, hair, there's different things there's different criteria in which who would want to get your services. For instance, there's a judicial system. You might not necessarily want to start out in the judicial system. You might not want to maybe advertise to those clients, or
are those like court orders and stuff like that?
Yeah, court orders, or people who are on certain medications. Their doctors want to make sure that they are taking those prescriptions. So they want a toxicology report on those patients, not necessarily saying that they're looking for a amphetamine or cocaine or oxycodone. They're mostly looking for a different panel testing to make sure they have a certain prescription medication in their system. And then there's different testing for employment screening. I'm keeping it basic and just kind of explaining employment screening, which is a pretty fairly across the nation. Everyone needs it instantly. Everyone's looking for a place to get a drug test. So if we were just to keep it into employment screening, you're gonna basically reach out to employers who have a lot of new hires, a lot of new hires, drivers, whether they have fleet workers, bus drivers, they're pilots. That's on the federal side for DOT. And then you have non-DOT, which are just basic, maybe a Walmart employee or an Amazon employee, or a local mom and pop small business that just wants to have a drug and alcohol testing program in place to just lower their insurance costs. You've also going to get a lot of nursing schools, a lot of students who need fingerprinting and drug testing. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say fingerprinting. I'm just so used to that service.
No, it's okay.
But you're going to get people in your office who aren't maybe necessarily outside of fingerprinting. They're going to need drug testing to start their career, to start employment, to start school, to satisfy even a substance abuse program. Maybe if they were employed through DOT and they had a positive, well, then you're going to get people who are going to come to you from substance abuse workers who work with those people and get them to a position where they're able to test and test negative or test clean for no drugs in their system. So those people are going to want to reach out to you as well. So there's so many different people to actually cater to and to offer your services to. You can do basically the trucking industry and go through third-party administrators and consortiums and try to just focus strictly on truck drivers or fleet drivers, bus drivers. I mean, you can go strictly through third parties. We're just going to send you in employment screening patients or just people who are mass new hires or staffing agencies. You can sign up with them. They'll send you referrals. You can also sign up with other laboratories and become a specimen collector for other laboratories. So you can make contact with local labs in your area and kind of tell them what you're doing, reach out to them for their services, and to kind of see if you can be a site where if they're full up field or if they don't have a scheduling system available, if you can actually become a specimen collector for that lab and do all of their labs, do the specimen collection for those labs.
Right. So from that, basically, to kind of sum it up, because I'm gonna ask you a few more questions that I still have over here in my head, but it really sounds like you can take like this whole niche of like, starting or creating or operating a drug testing business and take it into like 17 different areas. So like there's opportunity within the opportunity.
When the pandemic hit and employers were requiring COVID testing, if you have a drug testing office, or once you get set up for drug testing, you're able to offer COVID testing as well for employers, just to make sure that their employees are negative or positive for COVID.
Oh, and I've actually seen that. Yeah. I've seen lines wrapped around and people just pumping them out. And I'm like, who is making all this money? So really, it sounds like DOT, federally regulated, non-DOT, not federally regulated. You can go in those areas. You were talking about third-party administrators. There was a lot of terms in that even I heard, and I was like, oh, okay, holy crap. It sounds like a lot. But I think you broke it down very, very well, in that it's not really difficult to start this. You need the education. You need to know what you need, basically. So if you were to make a list of like things you need before you could take your first appointment, what would that look like?
That would look like a certification. That would look like some type of instant testing device.
Right.
That would look like a decision whether you're mobile or you're brick and mortar. I'd say you definitely need a uniform of some sort. Something, not
common business stuff,
Yes, get your business stuff set up in order. You need to be established within the lab. So you need to have an MRO officer, because you're going to need to have someone that reviews all of your drug tests, whether they're negative or positive. If they are positive, someone else is additionally going to have to look at that. So you're going to need to know who your MRO officer is.
Kind of like a second opinion, or like
it's the doctor. It's the medical review officer. It's the doctor that is overseeing the lab that you chose. They're overseeing the specimens that you send in for positive. So if those positive specimens come in, there's going to be a medical review officer that is going to reach out to the employee. There might be a reason why they would have an amphetamine in their system. They might have a prescription that we don't know, but it might come up as positive. So there's someone that you're going to need prior to getting established that's going to oversee your specimens, that can from a medical standpoint, communicate with the employee and the employer if there's a positive status. And then, like I said, if you're going to go mobile, you're going to need to know like a source of how are you going to get their transportation, where are you actually going to meet people at. If you're not going to go to an employer site, then you need to have a meeting location or something worked out with maybe a business to use their restroom, or if you're going to someone's home, you have to kind of figure out your business path. If you're going mobile, if you're not going mobile, if you're going brick and mortar, then of course you're going to want to make sure that your bathroom inside of your brick and mortar building is per federal regulations. It's established as far as the water, the faucets, the plumbing system. There's some additional things that you'll need on hand before you start your testing. But really and truly, that's really all you need to get started.
So it sounds like really the most common necessity that you need is like certifications or certification. You need the testing ability, you need that medical review officer, and then you need like the common business practice, whether you have a brick and mortar or you're mobile. It actually jogs my memory of a story. I was drug tested once before for, employments. And I remember seeing the whole setup, and I was like sitting in an auditorium, and we were getting ready to, we knew like that day was the drug test. So we knew like, are we going to go somewhere? Do we have to drive somewhere? Like, where are we going to do it? Are they just going to come in and shave us and take some hit? Like, how is this going to happen? People walked in, they set up a table, had all these cups and strips, and did it right in the bathroom there. And they just set it, and they did modify the bathroom a little bit, but nothing crazy. Like, they didn't have to do a whole restoration. And they sat there, they took all the specimens, and then they were like, all right, that's it. And it was like 20 minutes. They did, I think I did mine in like 10 minutes. And there was a whole group of like 60 people there. And they did it like quickly. Now they had to do like all the labels and signatures and stuff. Like there was a process to it, but they had a machine going, man. It was crazy. So you saying all this to jog my memory, and I'm like, oh, I guess anybody could do this as a business, which is cool. But to wrap it all together, for somebody starting something like this, or for somebody who's watching this video, maybe they're watching this and they want to just start a business. Maybe they're watching this and they have a fingerprint business, because I know we have the whole series on that previously, and they're looking to just get into this. What would you say is the first step on how to even just start? Just put one foot in, because once you put one foot in, I know in my experience from, helping others start their business, going from where they are now to where they want to be. Once you do that first step, like everything else, like kind of just follows, as long as you have somebody pushing you a little bit. But what would you say is like that first step to do in your experience?
If they already have an existing business, to add it on to their business, certification. Find a class, find someone qualified to train you, to make you an expert in this business from day one. That's the first step.
Education, right?
Education.
Yeah. I've found with most other, whatever business you're doing, if you're an expert in your field, everything else just comes naturally. Like if you are the expert, and the customers or the people or the businesses, they see you as the expert and you know what you're talking about, it's just going to come naturally. That's where the money follows. Make sure that you're an expert in your field, have good customer service, throw a little bit of marketing knowledge in there, and like you have a full-fledged business.
Yeah, really. And if you're already in fingerprint world, or even the notary world, because it's in the same, world, it's basically just learning, basically being trained, learning what to do, getting certified, buying the materials that you need, purchasing the equipment that you need to be successful, and then just going out there doing this, offering your services.
Love it. Love it. Well, listen, we're going to wrap that up. We could probably literally be on this interview for like hours. I know I have more questions. We'll probably
There's so much more we didn't.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2 to this, but definitely listen. No, thank you so much for your time. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for being interested in this. If you're like at this point in the video and you're still watching it, that means you're interested. So we're going to have a whole description with some notes on the entire video, some timestamps. We're also going to have a link down below that's going to show you how you can do this, no matter what state, county, city that you live in, what you need to do and how much it's going to cost to set up. All those questions in that link below will be provided for you. And then other than that, drop a comment, link, share it to a friend, whatever you got to do, comment, subscribe, all that algorithm stuff. And we appreciate everybody coming on. And Rosalind, I appreciate you sharing the knowledge for free. It's very, very, very kind of you. Most people, they'll be like, oh, it's my business, I want to, but you were very kind enough to hop on and, give us the secrets, and we'll definitely do a part 2. But other than that, is there anything else you wanted to shout out to the audience or let anybody know before we wrap it up?
Good luck, guys. Try it. It's very simple. It's easy. It's going to make you a lot of money. You'll love it. And it's fun. You meet a lot of people. So awesome. You'll love it.
I love it. Well, thanks so much, and take care, everybody.
Bye.